This meeting is now being live streamed. All right, let's fire it up. Hold on, we got the.
Oh.
Welcome to Earl and the Idiot, the show that gives you the answers you need to take your business to the next level. With Earl Flormata, one of Vancouver's most sought-after business and marketing consultants, author of Business Engine Optimization, consultant to over 60 successful businesses, an all-around evil marketing genius with a combined total of more than $70 million worth of sales to his credit. And some idiot. Okay, here we go.
I love how we got to say some idiot. Like I'm not even I'm not even a specific idiot. I'm just some guy.
Oh wait, I just didn't realize you changed your name. So that's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious.
There we go. I want people to be very clear on who I am.
There you go.
No misconceptions. Go ahead, Earl. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm loving
Good.
your new. I'm loving your new computer with a new camera with a new fancy background with the
Yep,
office.
exactly.
That's great.
You want to talk again? I feel like I'm sitting too far back to fit in this. I have to set up like this.
There you go.
I don't know what
That
they
works all right.
like. Yeah, I've gotten mad with power now that I can actually do the virtual backgrounds.
Yeah, for a
I'm trying
while
to-
I had a bunch of crazy backgrounds, but then I stopped paying for the fancy plugins because the plugins
Oh.
would stick me in a spacesuit and it would stick me in an alien thing, and I'm like, wait, I'm paying $200 for this. Maybe I don't need $200 worth of special effects. So
Yeah. No, I think you're good. I'm just trying to come up with some funny backgrounds I can post up.
no, absolutely. But even on the free version of my current software, I can still do stuff like this. So
Oh wow.
I can still do stuff like
But-
this. Right?
Oh my god,
So-
that's cool. I can do that. See, if I do that, I actually already get a thumb that costs nothing. So I don't
Right.
know.
well,
That's,
this version is free now, so I can do stuff like this.
Oh my god. What is that? What are you using?
The software is called, of all things, MMHMM. Because the guy, I think it's the guy who like one of the guys who started Evernote or whatever, and he's like, your startup name is very important, and you should be able to say your startup name whilst eating. And I'm like,
Mhm.
so who do you work for? So
Oh, yes. All right. God, Evernote.
So-
There's a blast from the past.
there you go.
I used to have Evernote. I like those guys.
I still use it from time to time. I still have a bunch of data in there.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just use the note program that comes with my phone now. I don't get anything fancy.
Because Evernote syncs across multiple machines.
Right.
Native Mac does it as well. The native Mac Notes does it as well, but yeah, but I have a whole bunch of crap from Evernote. I just didn't feel like porting over, so I'm like, oh, it's still there now. So I still use it to this day. There you go.
Nice. There's some guys going by outside the window here with those with electric scooters. I just want to say, I'm not trying, I can't remember we were talking about this the other day, but everyone bemoans the fact they had these great ideas. So I had this idea and then someone else executed the idea and made $1 billion or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I was never going to execute this idea, but I just want the bragging rights that I thought of it.
Absolutely.
So I knew this was a good idea. I knew they should have been doing this. I was trying to work it out, like what would be the best mode of transportation for getting around downtown. And basically that I sort of toyed with the idea of a motorized like rollerblades or roller skates,
That's
Yeah,
just
you
death
could,
on wheels, though. That's just
Yeah.
that's
you could slip them on my whole thing was maximum portability. So you could like
Right.
slip them onto your existing shoes, then just take them off when you get to the office. But yeah, I don't think you could probably put a battery pack in there, or you'd have to carry the battery pack in your suitcase or something.
there you
But
go.
this is good. So anyway, digressing away here.
All good.
Yes, this is Earl and the Idiot, the show where we have an Earl who's a genius, and I'm here to ask the dumb questions. I'm here to play the role of the idiot, the role I was born to play.
Well, you make it fun, so yeah, this is great, and
Yeah.
we've been lazy the past couple of episodes, and it's been amazing. And like so, just to catch people up on this on this is part 2 of bad marketing. And,
Bad marketing, compliments of AI.
and
compliments of
you
our new
came up
AI
with a
overlords.
brilliant idea of, hey, why don't we just ask ChatGPT what we should talk about? And one of the things was bad marketing examples. This is part 2.
Mhm.
we came up with like 7 of these things, and we only made it through 3 of the last show. So
Yeah.
we're like, hey, let's
They
just do
were-
the other 4 next show. Like, cool, let's do it.
They were too good. They were just they gave us a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
So we ended on a lack of transparency, which it's kind of false or misleading advertising. Like, yeah, that sort of groups together there. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
you don't need to tell everybody about your, I don't know, internal, issues.
Fair enough.
I'm
Well,
really learning that. What's that?
Go ahead. There's a little lag, but it's all right.
Oh, okay. I'm really learning that the more I get involved with other businesses, I think people get a little shy, self-conscious about how poorly their business is run.
But they're all run
just-
this badly.
they're all run that bad.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah. I don't care. You go to Boeing, IBM, Tesla, whatever company, there's going to be this madness in all of them. The closer you can get to good, the better, but don't be shy. Everybody's doing a really bad job of running their businesses, even the successful ones.
Nobody knows what we're doing. None of us know exactly what we're doing. There's just some inkling of best practices because you watch some other guy catch on fire and you go, huh, let's not do that.
Yeah.
And so
What's the stat? Yeah, I remember the stat from years ago. I don't know what the stat is now. What's the stat? How many businesses fail in the first 5 years or whatever it is?
oh, it's crazy. It's something like 80%.
Yeah.
So in the first year, 18 fail, and then in the next 2 years, 30 fail, 30%, then 3 years, 37, and then after 4 years, 44 fall down.
Are
So
you trying to pretend you know that stat off the top of your head? I heard you type.
no, I just Googled it. I literally just Googled it. No, I Googled it. I didn't ask Chat GPT because Chat GPT wasn't open already. So
What? So sorry, give me those numbers again. First year is how many?
first year is 18%. Just keel over, and then 2 years it's 30, and then 3 years it's 37.9 to 38, and then 4 years it's 44.5 on average. And this is the US stats. So that's crazy. Like most businesses keel over before then.
Yeah. And it's like, there should be know-how to running a business where those numbers aren't so bad. Like I always use the example. Can you imagine if I was like, 45% of bridges fail in their first 3 years because we don't know how to build a bridge. You know what I mean?
Right. That'd be bad. That'd
be bad.
Stop being used, and people would just wait until the drones can just pick me up and lift me away.
Yeah, exactly. I'll walk, thanks. Or I'll live somewhere other than Vancouver where there's a bridge every 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. 10 minutes. How does the bridge? I have a real simple rule now. There's no bridges. I don't do bridges anymore. So
really?
if it requires me to go over a bridge from where I need to get to where I'm going, I'm not going there anymore. So
wow. Is that just a geographic, yeah.
Traffic takes forever. Everything is slow. There's always some accident that backs up the entire bridge, and then it just throws your whole rest of your day out of whack. And the funny thing is that has since been a productivity hack personally of mine. I just don't touch anything with bridges. So it's like, hey, there's a bridge between here and there. Guess we're not going then.
That's too bad for you.
Yeah. So I only run events on places where I don't have to cross a bridge, or if people are coming to me, that's totally fine because then they have to cross the bridge. I don't have to cross the bridge. So
wow. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had to commute in any serious way. I used to live in Vancouver, and I would do window cleaning, and then after that roofing estimates.
Mhm.
But I'd be going from Vancouver out to the suburbs, so I was always running opposite. You know what I mean? And boy, if you ever find yourself stuck in the wrong direction of rush hour traffic, it's like I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people do it.
Couldn't do it every day. That's crazy. That's a lot. So,
yeah.
All right. So
anyway, I thought I was going to make another important point, but probably I was just a useless digression. As it normally is.
That's true. Shall we jump right into it?
Let's dive right into it. 20 minutes later.
Right.
So these are Chat GPT examples of bad marketing practices.
Part 2, the revenge, because every part 2 is a revenge.
It's always a revenge. Electric Boogaloo. Ignoring customer feedback. When companies ignore customer feedback, they risk losing. Oh, you like this one? Eh? They risk losing valuable insights into what their customers want and need. This can result in products that don't meet customer expectations and low sales.
I'm just laughing
Earl,
because
do you? Yeah.
ignoring customer feedback. I don't know. You watch that guy Ryan George on YouTube, right?
Who's that?
The screen pitch meeting guy.
I may have seen one of his videos. I don't recall. Refresh my
Barely an
memory.
inconvenience.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
That guy. And so he does this weird skit of a time traveling reporter. So a time traveler from the 90s goes into the future and then reports back to the 90s. And I'm laughing at ignoring customer feedback because of how Netflix ate Blockbuster, right? And Netflix came to Blockbuster saying, "Hey, the customers are asking for this. They would like this." And Blockbuster goes, "No, we are the Blockbuster. Go away." And they even offered to sell Netflix to Blockbuster. And hey, look, we'll answer all these questions that your customers want. And Blockbuster's like, they don't want that. Everybody wants VHSs. Who doesn't want a VHS? And so, looking at ignoring customer feedback, that's kind of hilarious, right? If your customers say, hey, enough of them say that they want this thing, they probably want this thing. So I have a fun story around this. I used to work for a reusable artboard company.
Mhm.
And for the first month of my marketing tenure within that company, I sat in customer service and I thought I was crazy. Like, I thought you came here to work on marketing. I'm like, well, yeah. So I sat in customer service, listened to every customer complaint, every customer question, every customer this, every customer that. And because I could see the patterns in those things, that's what I marketed towards. So, the opposite of this, if you pay attention to customer feedback, we were able to increase sales by a whole bunch just because we listened to the customers, right? There's a really good book called The Ask Method by Ryan Levesque. And it's just it's not like ground shaking, earth shaking material. It's ask the customers, here's a pattern, here's a system, and then whatever they ask for, sell it to them. So
Nonsense.
lo and behold,
Yeah.
money rains from the heavens, and who knows, right? But yeah, just ignoring customer feedback is bad. Like, no, don't take every customer feedback as the end all be all holy grail. You're going to run into a couple of crazies that want something that's unreasonable. But if 10 of your customers, 50 of your customers, 100 of your customers say, hey, it'd be really cool if we could have this, you should probably make it because you've already got an entire base of people who would be like, I'd buy that tomorrow.
What's a good example of that? It's similar to the Blockbuster Netflix thing. Taxi companies versus Uber.
Oh my gosh. So I used to make apps for a living. I've made a bunch of apps for giant companies. I begged and I pleaded to all the taxi companies here in Vancouver. Taxi companies, if you're watching this, it's your own damn fault. I begged and pleaded. Guess who made the Car2Go app? Guess who made a bunch of these other apps that ended up becoming like the Ubers of the world? I was willing to give this to the taxi companies.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want it. And I'm like, okay, well, this is your death knell right here. That's it.
You had the infrastructure there. You had all the cars on the road. All you had to do was make an app that operated the same as Uber. But did you think you were going to stop Uber? Like in Vancouver, we had it banned for the longest time.
Yeah. They are like, I was going everywhere else in the world, enjoying the Uber everywhere I went, except for my own hometown. It was crazy. I'm like, why the hell don't we have this here? It finally comes here. Taxis get decimated because they didn't build it themselves.
Guys just jump like there's I don't think there's anything patentable in Uber's concept. You could have just duplicated the concept.
Nope, absolutely not. There isn't. It is a taxi essentially, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. There's nothing defensible from the Uber standpoint, as far as I know right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's Lyft exists, right?
Yeah, exactly. So.
And
for the longest time, there was Chinese Uber. I don't know what it's called now because it was in Chinese, but there was literally a Chinese Uber happening in Richmond that you had to hop on like a WeChat or whatever, and like there was a Chinese Uber, and they would you just push the button, they'd show up, the payment would go through WeChat, and they'd take you wherever you wanted to go, and then that was it. I'm like, okay, why don't we have this now normally in English? But it's what it is.
But yeah, just make your cabs right. Like I like the fact that like you don't have to deal with making change and do I have enough change and what do I tip the guy, blah blah blah. It's like you just get in and get out on an Uber.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
And you say, hey, where's the taxi? Oh, send it over to me. Okay, it'll be there in 10 minutes. Like there's no reason they couldn't run the taxis like that. Any other good examples of?
Humans are dumb.
What?
we require tactical feedback on things that do not require actual feedback. Like, you know, the buttons on your microwave that go beep beep boop when you push them, they don't really need to go beep beep boop. People are dumb because they push the button, they go, did I push that button already? And so
Yeah.
they're not sure. So the purpose for the beeps is to give you some sort of, you know, audio feedback that goes, yes, I pushed the button already.
Mhm.
Right. So you know, having that in like the Uber system where you book the car and it shows you how far away the other car is. And
Yeah.
because it's doing it real time, you don't really need that, but because we like it, right? Because now we feel good about it, we can go, oh yeah, the car will be here in whatever time, and it says it's like 700 meters away. Awesome! It makes you feel good. No different from the
Yeah.
psychology of pushing the button on the microwave and it going beep beep boop, right? So
Mhm.
that's all there is to it. And again, it's not that different. I mean, taxis have been doing this forever. They didn't show you where the driver was before, but because the Uber shows you where the driver is, oh, I feel warm and fuzzy on the inside that someone's coming to get me.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it would have eliminated every competition part of it, but price, I guess.
yeah, pretty much.
Hmm.
There you go.
All right. Any other good examples of ignoring customer feedback, or should we move on to the next one?
Okay, we can move on to the next. I think we beat that one good enough.
Yeah. All right. So don't ignore customer feedback, everybody. ChatGPT says.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you hear? Okay, going to digress a bit on ChatGPT. I don't know if this is true. I just saw the article. I didn't like look into it, but did you hear the thing where ChatGPT hired someone to answer captchas for it?
Are you kidding me? No,
You didn't hear this one?
no.
Maybe it's not true, but they gave an AI program access to funds to use some money, and told it to, I forget what task they asked it to perform, but
It couldn't
hit,
get past captcha.
it hit a snag at a captcha, and it literally went on to, I think, Upwork and posted an ad and hired someone to answer captchas for it. And when the guy is like, hey, you're not some kind of robot trying to scam the system or something, the chat GPT said, oh no, I have a visual impairment that I can't see the captchas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. Skynet's here. Terminator's coming.
Right. It's leaking. It's leaking off the computer.
AI overlords are on the way.
Yeah.
So to be a useful human, make sure you can help it with the captchas.
Yeah. Humanity will not go defunct. We still have to answer captchas.
Yeah. That's our new
we'll have
purpose
at least
in life.
we'll have at least one purpose left. All right. Back to the mainstream here. Focusing on short-term gains. This is an interesting one. When companies focus solely on short-term gains, they may sacrifice long-term customer loyalty and trust. This can happen when they prioritize sales over customer satisfaction or use aggressive sales tactics.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks who focus on short-term gain. They get a bunch of money and then the customers get mad at them and then the customers all leave and then they wonder why they didn't get to keep most of the money they made, right? There's no point making a gajillion dollars in sales only to lose it all back again and charge back to angry customers, because then your ratings go down, your average feedback goes down. People then do research on you, see that your feedback is crap, and then they're like, hey, yeah, no, we don't want to do this anymore. So we were doing SEO for a car company. I won't name names, but there was a car company in Vancouver that was just atrocious. We would rank them for everything under the sun, and they would rank number one, and then they would piss off all their customers because the owner was a bit of a special person, and they pissed off everybody. Like everybody hates these people, and then because people would like just destroy them on the reporting, on the hey, what was your experience at X car company and blah 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 whatever, and everybody was like, I hate these guys, and so their rankings would start to drop, and so we'd have to pour more resources in to bring them back to number one, but then they'd piss off more customers, and it was just so focusing on short-term goals, focusing on short-term gains more specifically, and abandoning everything else. These guys did that in spades. And what ended up happening is that the cost for them to get clicks, the cost for them to get SEO, the cost for them to get anything, the vendors would start abandoning them. Nobody wanted to work with these guys. No one would supply for them because they were just a bag of dicks. So it's just like nobody wanted to play with them anymore. So it's just like, if all you do is short-term game, eventually you will join the, and this is a funny acronym, the NFL, which stands for No Friends Left. So when you have no friends left, nobody wants to work with you anymore because you pissed off your entire industry. Everything gets more expensive real quick, and your business, goes sideways really quickly because you know business is still partially a team sport, right? Like in school, when they taught you, hey,
Partially.
don't look at your friend's paper, make sure you do the test by yourself, blah 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 blah. That was all just to make sure you learn stuff. But in the business world, we cheat, right? If you're not good at math, go make friends with guys good at math, add them to your team, and your business will excel. If you're not good at sales or marketing or whatever, or delivery or operations, pick whatever you're good at, pick your teammates on best what you suck at. And then all of a sudden you've got this dream team and everybody's covering everybody else. And you shouldn't be working on you should never have to actually work on your weaknesses if you do it right. Just focus on your strengths, double down on the strengths. And yeah, and if you build stuff for the long game and you're transparent about it, people just appreciate it more.
Yeah, it seems like that's the kind of keynote that bad business practice can make you short-term money. Good business practices make you long-term money.
Well, in the world of SEO, so we did a lot of SEO in the back in the back of the day, and there's two kinds of hats in SEO, and I'll even do it. So for those of you who can't see us or aren't watching the video version, just listen to the audio only. I'm wearing a black hat with Black Panther on it right now. So I have a black hat and I have a white hat. So in the black hat section of SEO, you do a bunch of stuff that will get you ranked really quickly. You shoot to the top, but then when Google finds you, they ban your ass and you're gone, and that's it. And it works for like a month or two, and you're getting traffic up the wazoo, and then all of a sudden you just get cut to the bone and nothing's left. If you switch to the long-term methodology and my white hat, so I switched to the white hat now. On the white hat side, if you build for long game, build for future, everything that you build gets exponentially bigger, stronger, faster, better over time. And the white hat will always beat out the black hat. So the long game always beats out the short game over time, right? And the same could be said about chess. The same could be said about strategy. The same could be said about Go. All the people who think 20, 30 moves ahead and play in that 20, 30 moves ahead space always destroy the people who are just short-term. So the short-term, they'll be ahead in the very beginning, but it's like the tortoise and the hare, right? The hare was faster to begin with, but then he kind of screwed off and the tortoise kept on plodding along and the long game still won. So, yeah.
Be the tortoise. That's your new book. That's your new consulting book title. Be the tortoise.
I like it.
Oh,
so, what's up?
This is a weird one. This seems like weirdly specific. Targeting vulnerable groups. ChatGPT may have gone off on this one. Targeting vulnerable groups. When companies target vulnerable groups, such as children or people with mental health issues, they can be seen as exploitative and unethical. That seems like, I agree that this is bad. It just seems very, very too oddly specific.
No,
you know what I mean?
It is not.
No,
actually.
okay. Tell me.
So as per the Google guidelines, and as per the Facebook guidelines, you are actually not allowed to target vulnerable groups now. So before, when this wasn't a rule, bad marketers would hop on and do this. So I'll give you an example. So targeting vulnerable groups, let's go back to the automotive sector again, just because I was just talking about it. So on the automotive sector, you can have predatory loans in which that you charge them an arm and a leg and half their head for interest. Right? Because their credit is bad. And they still need a car to get to work. They still need a car to go buy groceries. They still need the vehicle to get the job done, but they can't afford it because no one will give them a loan, but you give them a loan and there's a predatory loan right there, right? There's also the the payday loan systems, systems who charge like an atrocious amount of money that you'll never be able to physically pay back because it's just math doesn't add up. So those types of things, targeting vulnerable groups, in the adult space, if you're targeting specific people in the pharmaceutical space, targeting vulnerable groups as well, right? Like, so attacking certain things, again, it's akin to focusing on short-term gains where you target the vulnerable groups because they have no choice but to use you, right?
I guess you have those games where kids, can order new dresses for their character or new outfits for their character, and they end up, racking up $900 on their parents' credit card or whatever.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. And so if the parents don't have the, the face authentication or fingerprint authentication set up on their payment gateways for the credit cards, the kid ends up spending 30 grand on like, digital tanks. And all of a sudden, now
Yeah.
you own $30,000 digital tanks. Your kid
Mhm.
still sucks at the game. And and you're out a whole bunch of money. So yeah, targeting vulnerable groups isn't okay, right? Like so bad marketing practice, targeting vulnerable groups. Like, let's just target anybody with a mental issue on a gambling site and they'll just give us all their money. I mean, that's yeah,
Yeah.
it'll work, but the PR that you get from this will be very bad, right? And then the lawsuits you
Yeah.
get from people who shouldn't be gambling will also be very bad. So the families of the people who have the mental issues are like, wait, you just targeted people with mental issues to sell them casino stuff? That's pretty bad. So no, yes, it
Yeah.
works. Don't do it. Don't do it.
There,
Don't do it.
there was a lawsuit I heard about a while ago where a woman basically said she had a gambling problem, and
Yep.
she just listed out all of the specific tactics that the casino uses to specifically target people with gambling problems. Like there's a fear of missing out. Oh, if I don't gamble, I'm not going to get that big win. And so they would like, periodically send these emails. Hey, are you missing out on that big win? You know what I mean? Like they just really specifically targeted people based on their knowledge of how gambling addicts work.
Yeah, but in this day and age, everything listens to us, right? I have an
Mhm.
Alexa over there. I have a Google over here. I have a Siri on my watch. So it's listening to everything that we say. So if it has that data and is providing you advertising based on what the intelligence that it's gathering from you asking it stuff, or it just openly listening to you, and you're targeting specific vulnerabilities and specific subsections of people, that's not cool, right? That's
Mm.
yeah, it does work, but you shouldn't be exploiting people who shouldn't be exploited. So long story short, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Anything more to say about that? Should we move on?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't
Just
do it.
because you
Yeah.
can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can doesn't
Yeah.
mean you should.
And you know what? Definitely something I've learned in sales. And I don't know, like it, don't do stuff you can't live with. You know what I mean? Don't do stuff you don't feel good about doing. Like
Right.
I've sold stuff where I'm like, I don't, should I have sold that to that guy? Or, I feel like I use my sales tactics to sell something somebody really shouldn't have bought. And like,
They're
you'll
just going to
hamstring yourself.
return it. They're just going to return it anyways. And
Yeah,
the
return.
commissions that you got and the bonuses that you enjoyed will all be clawed back anyway. So I mean, it ends up being like a zero-sum game where, yeah,
Yeah.
you win in the short term, then you end up zeroing yourself out, and then you end up, hurting yourself in the future because now
Yeah.
you have
But
that reputation of being the bad guy, right?
yeah, well, never mind just but like just the fact of feeling guilty, like you feel bad about what you're doing. You don't want to come
Mm.
to work anymore. You don't want to keep going. You're gonna sabotage your sales because you feel like you're doing something bad to people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just bad practice.
Absolutely. Well, I used to not like sales. I used to
Uh-huh.
because I was a computer science major back in the day, and like I always looked upon the salespeople with disdain, going, those guys will just say anything to make the sale, right? And then it's
Mhm.
us who have to actually program this thing and make it work, and they got some pie in the sky promise that's not actually possible, but sometimes engineering would just pull it off, right? So it's just like, okay,
Mhm.
well, that you can't do that, but we have a really smart guy and he just made it. So now I guess you can sell it now, I suppose. But like that doesn't always work, right? So anyway, just long story short, like short term versus long term, targeting vulnerable groups. There's enough hungry people in any particular market by which you can develop a healthy, happy, clean, white hat business from, where you don't have to hurt people. So you don't have to hurt people to make money. And just hurting people doesn't necessarily make more money faster. It ends up doing that whole short-term game. And then, your reputation is mud. That's why there's all these fly-by-night companies who will register the company, do a bunch of bad things, deregister the company, make a new company, make a brand new name, port everybody else over, and then wash, rinse, repeat, and do it again.
Hmm.
It's much more expensive to do that than to build a long-lasting brand, Levi's, Coca-Cola, that people hear the brand name and they go, we like that.
Mhm.
We like it because of the brand, and the brand's been around for 100, 200 years. If you're replacing your logo and your website and everything you have and everything you own and all your domains every 6 to 12 months because you're screwing people over, it's actually cheaper to not do that.
Yeah, I have this theory that I haven't totally proven out yet, but in the 80s, and like through a lot of particularly American history, the mafia, the mob was this mighty force to be reckoned with.
Mhm.
There were
And if any mobsters are listening, you still are a mighty force. We're scared of you.
Mobsters, God bless you.
Please,
God
please
bless you.
don't,
Fine
please don't
people.
shoot us. Please don't shoot us.
But they don't seem to be as big of a deal anymore. And I have this theory that they basically went, hey, hang on, if we just do exactly the same stuff, but legally, there's no danger of us getting shot or arrested in the process.
Well, the
And
hilarity
it's
of
moved
it
in.
is, so Al Capone was a furniture salesman, right? So the funny thing is the money started dirty. And then they bought the business to start laundering the money. But then they started to realize that the legitimate businesses actually made more money more consistently over time. No one's trying to shoot you in the face when you're trying to deliver a sofa, right?
Yeah.
And so the money in a legit business just happened over time. So what ends up happening is that you're absolutely right. The mobsters end up becoming just businessmen. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of them are still mobsters. They'll still do the back end, the back alley, the drug dealing and all that stuff, but they've got all these other top line businesses. So they don't want to actually get caught necessarily doing the bad stuff. So they end up doing less of the bad stuff, more of the good stuff, helping people and getting people the service or product that they're actually looking for, which is kind of funny. Like the long term always wins, and just doing good ends up winning, ends up beating out everybody else, right? So actually, here's a fun nugget for you. All
right, hit me.
You ever lose faith in humanity and wonder if it's all worth it and if anything's still good? There's an exercise I'm running, and I'm dreading the day. I'm dreading the day this fails. I'm dreading the day this fails, and I hope today's not the day. But all right, I just did it, and thankfully it still works. Oh, that's good. I just Googled the word hate, and hate comes back with like 2 billion answers. And then I Googled the word love, and love comes back with 14 billion answers. So,
yes,
thank God.
Love wins. Love wins.
The world is still safe. Everything is still fine. Love has 14 billion. Hate has 2 billion. We're at a 7-to-1 ratio, love to hate.
Have you been tracking it over time, though? Is hate gaining ground?
Sometimes it does. So in times of like during the pandemic and during the collapse of certain banks and during the collapse of global economies and this and that, you'd start to see hate gaining ground, and you'd start to see, because hate would show up in the news as hate crime, hate this, hate that, racism, blah, blah, blah. And
geez, I sure hate this pandemic.
Yeah. So you'd start seeing hate. I hate being trapped indoors. I hate that I have to wear a face mask. I hate that I can't hug my friends, all that kind of stuff. And so you'd see hate gain ground in times of like just rough space, but then love seems to win out, right? So I've been doing this exercise since I was taught this in an internet marketing group back in 2007. I learned this exercise, and like, if you ever you're losing faith in the world, just do this. And it hasn't failed us yet, and to date it has not failed me yet, although I am worried one day it will fail live on camera. Like, hey, just watch this. I gotta go.
And if you conversely, if you ever feel great about humanity and you want to lose faith in it, try working at a service industry during a pandemic.
Oof, there you go.
Not speaking from experience at all. All right, moving on. And this actually kind of ties in. Number 7, bad marketing practices: ignoring social responsibility. When companies ignore their social responsibilities, such as environmental concerns or ethical sourcing, they can be seen as irresponsible and unethical. Earl, how true is this? How right is ChatGPT?
It's due to the way that millennials and the generations that came after them think, right? If you look at today's day and age, every restaurant I go to now has those god-awful paper straws that,
boo.
And it was kind of hilarious the other day on TikTok, because my daughter uses TikTok. She's like, what's this? I'm like, oh man. And so there's a person who says, screw the sea turtles, grabs a plastic straw and eats it. And they're like, see, it's fine. And then immediately afterwards, like the next post is the next day, they're like, regret, it came out the other end, it was not fun.
Oh,
And so so there you go.
I like the meme where it's like a picture of a person with where the soul is leaving the body, like flying out of their body,
Yes, yes.
and it says me, and then the ghost is labeled my internal environmentalist whenever my straw starts disintegrating in my drink.
Yes, absolutely. So
I have
although
I have
the
a
other
box.
day,
I have a Mhm.
the other day, I went to this place, a Body Energy Club, and they had
Yeah.
these straws that were like bamboo or something. They were like, I could kill you with one of these things. It was like a strong ass straw, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. And they're like, compostable, biodegradable, da 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 da. It's not that piece of crap paper straw that dissolves in your mouth while you're drinking. And I'm
Mhm.
like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Eventually, it does get soggy and fall apart, but it took a day.
Yeah.
It took a whole
wow.
day for it to
That's
die.
I
And I'm
don't
like,
I don't take a day
that's
to drink my drinks.
that's impressive. So
Yeah.
there are ethical solutions to this. So yeah, going back to social responsibility,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
People care about all that you do as a company. So if you're helping them make a really great appliance or a great tool or great whatever, but it's at the cost of the environment, and every time I use this toaster oven, I kill an elephant or something terrible, then it's just like you shouldn't be doing that, right? Like do stuff. Again, this goes back to the short-term goals and the vulnerabilities, right? Like ignoring social responsibility, it's important to care about the environment, because if all you cared about was the bottom line and profit, now don't get me wrong, bottom line and profit is very important for a business, otherwise there's no business. But if you do it at the expense of social responsibility, you're targeting vulnerable people, you're setting the earth on fire. Every time I look at this toaster, an elephant dies. It's not good for the planet, right? It's not good for anybody. And again, back to short game versus long game. Think long game. There's plenty of money in long game, right? Tons and tons of money in long game, especially in recurring long game. You get recurring into the equation. We're looking at writing a book called The 10 Commandments of Business, and one of the commandments is thou shalt have recurring income. And if you're ignoring social responsibility, your recurring income will go to zero, because people will stop buying from you because they don't like you, because your toaster kills elephants, right?
Yeah. The idea, like, it's so hard for me to get my head around the idea that you could run a factory of some kind, and it's like, oh well, the byproduct of what we're producing here is like really toxic stuff. The idea that someone somewhere along the lines could be like, you know what we should do? Just dump it in the river.
Yeah,
just dump it
right.
out. Whatever.
And then they have the audacity to complain that my fish have 3 eyes and 7 heads. It's just like,
yeah.
Well, who was the one who dumped it in the river?
Yeah, but it's like, I guess, I don't know, it's because I'm at the leading edge of the millennial generation. I was raised on Horton Hears the Who, and not Horton Hears the, what's the other, the Lorax?
The Lorax, they speak for the trees.
Yeah, he speaks for the trees, but it's like I've definitely I've definitely mellowed. Like, I don't mind hunting anymore. I'm not interested in doing it, but I don't really have a problem with hunters, and I'm not as tense about the environmental thing as I used to be, but I'm still like, I myself could never engage in knowingly destroying the environment for my own personal profit. And the fact that entire corporations can go for it and just be like, well, we're making money, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, most like proper hunters, ethical hunters that I know, are the most conservative people in the universe. Like they'll
because they want the animals to keep living, right?
Well, because they need to hunt them so they can keep eating, because they want the fresh game, so they want the environment and the ecosystems to thrive, right? They don't just shoot 7 deer, stick them on the back of the truck and then drag them along the road as they go along. I mean, that's not good for anybody, right? So the most hunters, they're clean living, right? They eat cleaner, they work cleaner, they act cleaner than most.
Yeah, like Ducks Unlimited was all funded by hunters who want to preserve wetlands because they want to have ducks around to hunt. And
ducks are delicious. I don't know if you saw that. This is a complete tangent, but we're getting to the end of the show anyways. There's a wanted poster right now in Central Park. Some guy brought a backpack to the park, fed the ducks, duck got closer, he grabbed the duck, stuffed it in the backpack, and ran home to eat it.
Oh my god.
It was the most horrifying thing. I'm like, wait, there's a wanted poster. There's a picture of some guy with a backpack and a duck. And it was the worst wanted poster I have seen in my life. And I'm like,
wanted man with duck and backpack.
Well, wait. Does your if I poke your backpack, will it quack? No, okay, good. But there you go.
Next thing you can see the wanted poster: man going around park poking people's backpacks to see if they quack. All right, I think we've run to the end of our Chat GPT.
Chat GPT wisdom and knowledge, and I guess
Yeah,
quack rhymes with a hack, so
It's
it's about that time.
That's a segue.
There you go. Segue.
Hack of the week. Sorry,
There you go.
I was thinking back to the opening theme song where I was getting ready to dance.
Did I just mess you up with the whole quack backpack thing? It's like, wait, do I have to put people's backpack on the SkyTrain now? Going, there's a quack? No, okay. Did you steal that?
Just feel for the poor ducks.
So there you
go.
Right. So hack of the week.
Hack of the week?
So last week's hack of the week was look at all the other marketing examples that you find in your niche that are terrible, and then obviously exploit them. This hack of the week this week is steal, and this is funny. Steal all of the bad reviews from all of your competitors. I know that sounds crazy. Steal all the bad reviews from all your competitors and create
Earl, that sounds crazy.
Around your solution that showcases how you address all of the other guys' shortcomings. So, and I did this for a client once, and it was kind of hilarious. They literally stole all their competitors' business because they built stuff around the main complaint. So anytime they saw a complaint more than 3 times on the competitor's site, they built a feature benefit market dominating position around how they're different, and they solved that problem. And people who were screwed over by their competitor just flocked over to them because it was like they reached out of the internet and they're speaking to you, specifically you. This is for you. And the customers are like, it felt like you were legitimately one-on-one talking to me, solving my exact problem. And this is we stole it from all the competitors by just looking at all the people complaining about stuff, showing them how we were different, and they would never have to complain about that with us. And ta-da for the client. And so they're making a mint.
Is that basically how Uber stole the business from the taxis? Just found out what people complained about taxis?
Pretty much. Right? Refusal of service on taxis. The Uber solved it. The Uber driver actually has no idea where you're going when they say yes to the trip. They just know where to pick you up from, and then when they get you, they're like, "Oh, we're going to Langley now." So they have no idea where you're going. So they have to say yes and just have a prepared thing. Otherwise, they maybe they can't make it that far. It takes 3 hours to get there. Right? Like, please drive me to Seattle. So I think there's a limit as far as you can go, but like they don't. There's no refusal. Because if you remember back in the day when there was taxi signs, if for taxi refusal, please call.
Right.
Because people would refuse to drag you from one end of the town to the other because it's too far. But that's your job as a taxi driver, right? So anyway, so there you go. So hack of the week: steal all of the bad reviews from your competitors. Write material that attacks those specific bad reviews. Now, don't
attack the competitor. You don't attack the competitor, right?
No, not to name names. Don't disparage your competitor. Don't slander your competitor, right? Just take the bad stuff and fix it and show how your product or service fixes it. And then people will find you because they're like, oh yeah, that really does irk me or piss me off or grind my gears or whatever. Whenever I do this bad thing happens. Hey, you want that bad thing to go away? Your ad says this. Yes, I'd like that bad thing to go away. Please help me. Here's some bag of money. So there you go.
Beautiful. All right, I guess that's it. So now going forward here, that's also one of my least favorite expressions going forward, but I just said it. Are we going to start thinking for ourselves again, or are we just going to let ChatGPT keep doing it?
I don't know. I'm enjoying these sessions when ChatGPT gives outline. So we should just come up with really cool questions, throw it to the wild. I mean, if ChatGPT can hire people to do captchas for it, I mean, the funny thing is I actually been getting feedback from other people saying, hey, wait, so you got all of your show notes and ideation from ChatGPT? Yes. So, and they're like, I really enjoyed that show though. And I'm like, so did we. We had a fun time doing this.
It does feel really kind of a little bit shitty when Oh, do we swear on the show? I forgot if we
Sometimes,
policy on it.
sometimes it's
All right.
totally cool. Whatever.
All right. It does feel a little bit shitty sometimes when we have a great show and I go, oh yeah, that was a Chat GPT show, and it was better than the show where we came up with the idea ourselves. So that hurts a little bit. It hurts a little bit.
A little bit, but here's the thing: it wasn't Chat GPT that created the initial spark and initial prompt, right? So the better we are at creating the spark and the prompt, the better questions that we ask. The quality of your questions affects the quality of your life. Well, the quality of your questions also affects the output of Chat GPT. So if you give it a really good question, it gives you a really good framework. And it's neat because it's almost putting us on the spot because we're literally reading off of the Chat GPT system.
Yeah.
Like there's no preconceived notions. You're actually getting the honest to goodness answers from the both of us, and honest to goodness real takes. Going, yep, here you go. And it's really cool being able to give real life stories, real life examples, real life case studies. I know the intro says, "Oh, Earl's helped gajillion businesses and makes a bunch of money," but this is really putting me on the spot. Going, hey, how about this one? And I go, oh right, yeah, we did this one back in 07 where this happened. But it's really neat being able to pull from the old experience when ChatGPT puts you on the spot because it's not malicious intent. It's just like, hey, how about this?
Yeah, it's a good way to go. Yeah, I like having you react against what ChatGPT is saying. I just went on Jasper and I had it. Remember last week I had it write an outro for us.
Oh yes.
And I just asked it just because I did this before. It was really funny, but I can't remember what prompt I used. It's probably back there somewhere. But I had it write a really bad ad for Coke.
Okay.
It says, don't reach for just anything when you're thirsty. Reach for Coke. It'll satisfy your thirst with its awful taste and fake sugar. Get your fix of stale soda today. Hashtag have a Coke.
That's great. In developing countries, they use it as pesticide. So
yeah, exactly. In developing countries, they use actual sugar, though.
Yeah, that's true as well. Anywho, there you go. So that's a wrap. Am I hitting the button?
Do it. Well, let's just say thanks everybody for joining us. This has been Earl and the Idiot. Thank you, Earl. Thank you, me. Thank you, ChatGPT. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hit it.
I love how that rhymes. Thank you, Earl. Thank you, me. Thank you, ChatGPT. Here we go.
It did have good rhythm, didn't it?
Thanks for listening to Earl and the Idiot. We hope you learned something you can take action on this week. For more information or to contact the show, visit earlandtheidiot.com. And until next time, remember what Shakespeare said. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool.
Adios, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.